tell me where the freak's at.
A woman seals the deal on her future monster-in-law status. Retail worker Angela Kent is suing her fiance's mother for payments due on a vehicle. Defendant Michelle Adams says the car broke down after a month. Now it's Joe time.
That's Ms. Kent, you're suing Ms. Adams. And Ms. Adams, I believe, is the grandmother for your two twins, is that right?
Yes.
And the grievance is that you sold the vehicle to her, according to your assertions, and she has not finished paying for the vehicle. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And your witness is your fiancé, the father of your two children, and the son of the defendant. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
By the way, you need to change that status from fiancé to husband and wife.
Yes, Your Honor. I am
We've
working
got
on doing so.
14-month-old twin sons.
Yes.
Don't get like what I say. That's my fiance. Well, how long you been together? 14 years. You got 6 children, and you've been engaged for 14 years. Don't you think it's time to jump the broom or something? Anyway, this vehicle you allege was sold to the defendant, and Miss Adams, you say the vehicle broke down after only a month, and the repairs cost more than it was worth, so you shouldn't have to pay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I believe you sold the vehicle.
Yes.
You got $400 for it.
After we found out how much it was going to cost. Yeah.
Yes. Now, Ms. Kent, you allege that October year last, you say you sold the defendant your '01 Chrysler Voyager for what, $2,500?
Yes,
is
Your
that
Honor.
correct? Now, you, ma'am, dispute that and say the price was supposed to be $2,000. Is that right?
Well, I believe it was $2,100.
$2,100. Yeah. Well, what's in writing says $2,000. Did you get a down payment, young lady?
Yes, Your Honor. I got a down payment of $400.
And what was the agreement?
That she was going to pay every 2 weeks when she got her paychecks.
All right, $200 every 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you're alleging. How many payments did you get?
I only got a total of like 3 after the 400. Like they were 200, 200, and then 100, which summed up to be 1,100 total.
Well, that doesn't quite add up. What you actually allege is 4 payments, 3 for 200 and 1 for 100. But I'll do the math in a minute, which isn't much. Okay, so you want to be paid off, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You've got your sworn accounting. Let's see, there's a promissory note. Let's see, title information. Let's go to the defendant. Now, Ms. Adams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Give me your defense, please.
Well, when I purchased the vehicle, I was doing it, and they were in a tight spot, especially after having the babies. And,
yes, they're in a tight spot.
Yeah, and they wanted to sell the vehicle, and at the time I didn't have a vehicle. So I ended up making arrangements with her and buying the van from them. A month after having the van, I started having problems with the vehicle. One of them was the tires, and I ended up putting new tires on the vehicle. But 2 weeks after I put the tires on the vehicle, I ended up driving to work one morning, and the transmission had gone out of the van. I ended up getting it towed to a car dealership to have it looked at, because right now it was sitting on the side of the road, so THROWBACK Towing is the one that towed it there.
All right.
So at that point, they took a look at it, and they told me it was the transmission, so I wanted a second opinion. So we ended up hauling it up to Sturgeon Lake Garage, and they took a look at it, and they said it was going to cost us $1,800 to have that transmission rebuilt.
And
it was a salvage title, and there was damage to the vehicle. So at one point,
and
weren't
you trying to help them out of a tight spot?
I was.
So it looks like they're in a tighter spot.
It was more money coming out of mine.
No vehicle, no money, and they're worse off than they were.
They had a vehicle.
Well, they had a vehicle, but if they're in a tight spot, now they don't have whatever value might have been associated with the property interest in this Chrysler product. They don't have that, and they don't have money. Now, I'm still waiting for your defense.
That's my defense, I'm sorry.
That's not a defense.
Well, I felt that, you know, since I had to put out all this money because the van broke down, that honestly, it wasn't worth paying the $2,100.
Well, let me see. Take a look. I always look at people's backgrounds and circumstances. I've had people with doctorate degrees who came in here and expressed ignorance that they should not have possessed. Well, let's see, you work at a hospital, don't you?
I do.
You have a 21-year-old, that's the witness for the plaintiff, a 17-year-old, and a 9-year-old stepson. You're only 41.
I am.
Well, you're young, but not so young that you ought not know better. You don't know what the principle is here?
I understand.
What's the principle here?
That she owes that I owe her the money.
Why?
Because we had an agreement.
No, that's not just it. You buy a car and it'll have an express warranty, or you buy a product and it say there are no implied warranties other than what is set forth here or may be required by your state law. You had none. Just had a simple hand-drawn promissory note. And you sold it. You got $400. Did you give that to her?
No, that actually paid for the towing.
By the way, why are you setting such a bad example for your son and your potential daughter-in-law?
I don't think I was.
Well, yes, you are. See, they are going to be, well, they are young citizens, and they need to know the law, so Mama's got a 21-year-old son who's over here and two 14-month-old grandsons. Don't you think Grandmama ought to be able to tell them what the law is on something so simple? It's about 2,000 years old, actually 500 years old. So you don't know that?
I have. And I think I am been a good mom to them.
Why are you doing such chicken stuff to them? You were supposed to be helping them out, now you left them cold.
I don't know.
And what about the 17-year-old son still at home? Is that the kind of example he's supposed to get?
No, not at all.
In other words, you're talking about blood kin over here, and you're going to jack them up?
No, I'm not.
Well, is it any wonder that society is what it is? And, you know, they say in our type of system, we get the representation we deserve, and, you know, all of this nefarious back dealing and talking out of the side of your mouth and speaking with forked tongue type thing we complain about in our elected representatives. Is it, you know, any wonder that they're like that when so many of their constituents are like that?
I raised my kids to be good, so.
Then why'd you do this to them?
I didn't do this to them.
What do you think you did? They needed help. They needed cash. They sold something they had that had some value to mother, mother-in-law, grandmama, and what'd she do? She stiffed them. It's not a bad example, but you just are acting in ignorance of an ancient and common law that you ought to know if you're going to be an adult citizen in this country. Buyer beware. And when you ought to be aware of it and you start acting in ignorance of that and harm to those that you ought to have a kinship and love to and for, then it's bad. So you get your award as requested, $1,400 in your cost. That'll be the balance of what's due and owing to you.
This courtroom is now in recess.
All right. I understand that you worked for him and you say that he wrongfully terminated you from your job as a grocery cashier.
Yes, ma'am. I worked in Tim's Grocery for about 2 years. And within those 2 years, I came in on time. I never called out. I was great to all my co-workers, and all the customers loved me. I was a great employee. So I'm wondering why I got fired.
You don't know?
No.
You don't have a clue?
No.
Oh, well, let him enlighten you. Would you please tell the woman why you terminated her? She doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, she should. We gave her a clear warning, And when she was selling cookies to the coworkers, which ordinarily isn't against our policy.
Whose cookies?
For her daughter's soccer team, raising money.
Oh, so this was mother at work helping her daughter sell the cookies for the team so they could win a TV or a free trip or something like that?
Exactly, which isn't a problem ordinarily. But she was harassing the other employees. If they didn't want them, she kept asking them again, making them feel guilty. You don't care about the children or the future, stuff like this, and that's where we had to draw the line.
And were the other employees complaining that she was asking them to buy these cookies?
Yes.
And they indicated she was kind of harassing them and making them feel bad about it?
Absolutely. When someone's uncomfortable enough to approach me about something, you know, I have to act accordingly.
What's the company policy?
The company policy, actually, if you'd like a copy of it, I brought it. But it's...
It don't matter to me. If you want to prove something, you can give it to Will and let him tell me, but if you don't...
Yeah, no, it's pestering. I mean...
Okay, what's pestering? What does it say?
Well, other forms of harassment or bullying may include. There's a long list here.
Well, let me see, so I can go through it quickly. So you have a policy against pestering or bothering. Thank you. Anti-harassment at work policy. Okay.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear.
Harassment and bullying can take the form of a number of different behaviors, including persistent comments, actions, suggestions, which are unwanted, physical contact, pestering, spying, and talking. Okay. And so you underlined or highlighted pestering, spying, or talking because you think that her type of harassment fell under that category.
Exactly.
All right, pestering, spying, or talking. What do you have to say about that? Were you pestering the employees?
I was not pestering the employees.
How would you ask your coworkers to buy the cookies?
They knew I was bringing in the cookies the day before. When I brought in the cookies the next day, they already knew they were going to buy the cookies. They came up to me. I didn't even have to go up to them.
So you already had pre-sales, or you just brought a box of cookies in?
I brought a box of cookies in.
And where did you have these cookies?
I had them by my register, in the back of my register.
In the back of your register as a cashier?
Yes.
And did you ask any of the customers to buy the cookies?
No, I did not. They came up to the drawer, my cash register. They asked me what was the cookies for. I told them they were for my daughter, for our soccer team.
And they paid for them?
And they said, hey, who wouldn't want to help out a child? This is our future we're talking about.
All right. Well, did your employer say to you at any time, don't sell those cookies on this job? Never told you that?
No, they didn't. And he came up to me. He didn't say I couldn't sell them.
Never said anything about it?
No, he did not.
Did any of your coworkers ever say, nope, I don't want to buy any?
Yes, some of them did.
And when they said, nope, I don't want to buy any,
then that was
what
fine.
was your response?
Then that was fine. I didn't sell them the cookies. They just didn't buy the cookies.
All right. Who's this young lady?
This is Karen. She's another employee.
Oh, and she can testify as to what happened.
Yes.
All right, Karen, step forward. I'd like to hear this.
Your Honor, Vanessa, she sold me the cookies, and I saw her asking other employees if they wanted to buy the cookies as well, but I didn't necessarily see her harassing them. Some of them would, not buy them or turn them away, but I bought them with the beauty and the cuteness of her daughter. She reminds me of my daughter.
So she showed you the picture and you were sold?
Yes.
But she never harassed you?
She didn't harass me, no.
But?
I can't see everything.
Did you ever see or observe her being persistent with any of your other coworkers?
I did not, Your Honor.
Oh. So you were told by some coworker, Mr. Hodges, that she harassed or pestered or caused them some problems, right?
Other coworkers, that's correct, yes.
So why wouldn't you bring one of those to court as opposed to this one who said she wasn't harassed? I don't understand you people when you bring witnesses to help your case. You bring somebody that says, no, she never pestered me. She asked me. The picture of her cute little girl made me pay. She's your witness. That meaning she's supposed to testify in your behalf. She just disputed what you said. Oh, now you remember.
Thank you.
Now you remember, Ms. Branch?
Not that I remember, but I'm saying, I don't see everything, so maybe she was harassing sometimes they would turn away.
No. We're not allowing you to guess. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. We can play the maybe game. Maybe she was arrested, maybe she wasn't. Maybe she sold them, maybe she didn't. I'm not allowing you to do that. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
Uh-huh.
So now you want to try to change your testimony since I brought to your attention that you were not assisting the defendant You were corroborating her statement.
Well, it's not necessarily that I don't know. It's just that sometimes we work long hours and I don't remember some things sometimes. So.
Oh, then you need to sit down. You should have just come in here to be a witness then. Sit yourself down if you can't remember. Because that's what witnesses have to do, remember, recall. That's what it's all about, memory. Recalling the facts and stating them precisely.
One down.
So, did you ever hear him say, I'm gonna give you one more chance. Did you ever hear your employer say to her, do not sell those cookies at work, or to any of you?
Yes.
See,
When?
now you're lying.
I'm not lying.
You're lying.
When?
No, I'm not lying.
When?
After he had told her that she shouldn't sell the cookies.
You heard him tell her that?
Yes.
Okay. How many times?
Twice. He
And-
told me that he told her later because I told him that he.
No, he told me that he told her. What did you hear him say to her, if
Replaying
anything?
this.
He said, I can't allow you to sell these cookies here
Okay.
anymore.
And you heard that?
Yes.
Anymore? And
Anymore.
after that fact, she continued to sell?
Yes.
You observed that?
Yes.
Okay, now you can sit down. And you say you were wrongfully terminated
I
because
was wrongfully terminated.
you should be allowed to sell cookies on the job.
These are for kids, Your
I
Honor.
wouldn't care who they're for.
I was not harassing anyone. If a customer came, I didn't sell them at all. If a customer came up to my register and they saw the cookies, they asked what was it for?
I got that. You don't have to repeat that to me. I heard you very
But I'm
clear.
saying I did not.
I didn't say you
harass them.
harassed. I got you. You didn't harass, but you sold
It was
cookies on
not
the
against
job.
the company policy to be
But he
selling things at
told
work.
you not to sell
He
anymore.
did not. He said he suggested it. I wouldn't do that if I were you. He didn't tell me I could not sell them.
Oh, he suggested if I were you, I wouldn't do that. Here's the employer, the manager, saying if I were you, I wouldn't do that. What does that say to you?
I mean, he didn't tell me I couldn't.
No. You're a grown woman.
He did
If
not tell me
I were
couldn't.
you, I wouldn't do that.
He said I wouldn't sell the
If
cookies.
I were you, I wouldn't do that. What does that suggest to
That's
you?
like, what is that, a threat?
Oh, you sound like a silly person now. So he has to threaten you or just say it precisely in order for you to say that
He
you
did
shouldn't
not
do it.
He should have straight up said, you cannot sell these cookies at work.
Well, I
Instead
think
of
you should have
saying,
straight
"If
up. You should have straight. Why do you think that he brought a witness to court?
She don't even know nothing.
So how much money did you lose?
I lost $1,600,
How did you lose that?
$400 a week. I was out of work for a month.
What happened to unemployment benefits?
I didn't sign up for it. I just
Why
recently
not?
got a job.
Why not?
I was trying to get my job back.
You were wrongfully terminated. Why wouldn't you sign up for unemployment?
I don't know.
I don't either. Because you know, one reason maybe you didn't sign up because when you are unemployed and terminated, if the employer has just cause, you may get denied unemployment benefits. So that may be the reason why you didn't sign up.
I had a lot
But
of
certainly
things
you
going
should
on,
have.
ma'am. I'm a single mother. I had a lot of things going on.
And one of those things you should have had going was applying for unemployment because you didn't have a job.
I
So
got
that you
one
wouldn't
now?
be out of, so you would have, well, you have one now. That's good.
But I was still out of work for a month. I need
You
my
know
money.
what? I can't help how long you were out of work. Let me tell you something. Whether he told you not to sell the cookies or not, whether you were selling the cookies or not harassing the clients and the customers and the other employees, it doesn't matter. An employer can terminate you at will. They don't have to give you any reason why they terminate you, unless you have a specific defined contract that says these are the only conditions under which my employment may be terminated.
I didn't
But
see that in
most
the
of us
policy.
work at what we call at-will employees, which means that he hired you, your employer hired you, they can fire you anytime they get ready without telling you anything, as long as it doesn't violate federal law in terms of discrimination based upon sex, religion, age, color, sexual preference, or those things. You haven't told me any of that.
Your Honor, I've been there for 2 years.
I don't care if you've been there for 15 years. Do you read the news? Do you know how many people just got terminated recently from all type of jobs that had been there 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, had retirement, was about to retire, hoping to retire, and they were terminated?
That doesn't
Because
make it
Chase
right.
came and said, yeah, it is right under the law, and it's still right. Judgment for the defendant.